Good morning, everyone. I am pleased to call to order the May 6, 2021 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Note the presence of all three commissioners, and we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I will begin with a few opening comments. So I'm sure that you have all heard that this week the governor announced that all mitigation measures will be lifted on Memorial Day, and that the plan to lift the mask mandate will occur when 70% of individuals 18 years of age and older are fully vaccinated in the Commonwealth. Montgomery County plans to comply with the lifting of the mitigation measures as we look forward to the start of summer. It's great to hear the governor and his COVID-19 vaccine joint task force reinforce the message that the quickest way to get back to normal is to get vaccinated. Here in Montgomery County, I'm very happy to tell you that more than 52% of our entire population have received at least one dose of vaccine, and that number continues to grow every day. I'm particularly reassured by the fact that 96% of individuals 65 and up in Montgomery County have received at least one dose of vaccine. To make getting vaccinated as convenient as possible, we have walk-up availability at all of our county-run vaccination sites. Combined with weekend and evening hours, our residents now have more options to get vaccinated when it works best for them. Additionally, we have second doses of Pfizer vaccine available to anyone who needs one, even if that first dose was not obtained through Montgomery County. We remain committed to offering the COVID-19 vaccine to anyone who wants to receive it and urge our residents to get vaccinated for the safety of their family and our community. Our vaccine sites continue to offer the Pfizer and the single-shot J&J vaccines to anyone who wants to receive one. If you or a family have any vaccine questions, please email us at covid19@montcopa.org, or you can call our hotline at 833-875-3967. Now that vaccine appointment eligibility is open to all, anyone over the age of 16 can register for an appointment or just walk up to one of our clinics to receive the vaccine. We are also awaiting the FDA's decision to authorize the Pfizer vaccine for adolescents aged 12 to 15. If the vaccine is authorized for use, we will begin to administer the Pfizer vaccine to 12 to 15-year-olds at our existing sites. As a reminder, anyone coming to one of our vaccine clinics under the age of 18 must be accompanied by an adult. And we would urge you to check which vaccines are being offered at which location on which days, because some sites on certain days are just Johnson & Johnson, and other sites are just Pfizer on certain days. So particularly if you are in that younger age group, we want to make sure that you come to a location that has the Pfizer vaccine on that particular day. We just want to encourage anyone who's still waiting to be vaccinated to find a location near you to get your shot. The quicker that we can get more people vaccinated, the quicker we can return to normal. I also want to just remind everyone that we continue to participate in and support vaccine town halls to answer questions and provide people with factual information. Our partners at the Montgomery County Immunization Coalition have joined forces with the Tri-County Health Council, ACLAMO, Berks County Community Foundation, the YWCA of the Tri-County area, and Univision on a COVID-19 vaccine virtual town hall scheduled for Wednesday, May the 12th at 7 p.m. During this interactive town hall, speakers will discuss COVID-19 vaccine myths, facts, and access to the vaccine, and answer all of your questions. Attendees can submit questions in advance or ask them live. This conversation will be in Spanish with English interpretation available. You can register today at www.pottstownfoundation.org/town hall. That's www.pottstownfoundation.org/town hall. And with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Lawrence.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. As many of you know, the primary election is coming up on May 18th. And in this election, local officials will be on the ballot, and also statewide judges for the state Supreme Court, Superior Court, Commonwealth, our Common Pleas Court here in Montgomery County, jury commissioners, ministerial district judges, judge of elections, inspector of elections, school district directors, municipal commissioners, council members, mayors, tax collectors, constables, and auditors. And voters will have several options to cast their ballot. You can cast your ballot by absentee ballot, mail-in ballot, or in person. The deadline to register to vote for this election is already passed, but you can apply for future elections, and it is also too late to change your registration for this election. Just a reminder, if you voted by mail-in ballot in November and you have not done so, you must reapply this year to receive a mail-in ballot. And there are a few ways to do this, and the instructions can be found on the Voter Services website at www.montcopa.org/voter services. And the deadline to request an absentee or mail-in ballot application is May 11th at 5 p.m. If you voted by mail in the past election, but have changed your mind and want to vote in person going forward, there's also a form to cancel your mail-in ballot request. And you can also bring your ballot and the envelopes with you to the polling location, and the judge of elections at the location will void your ballot, enabling you to vote in person. We've mailed out over 70,000 ballots so far. And as of noon on May 4th, we've received 23,380 ballots back via US mail, drop boxes, and satellite offices. We are asking voters to keep in mind the deadline when choosing their return methods so their ballots will be received in a timely manner. On May 1st at 10 a.m., our 11 ballot drop-off box locations began accepting ballots. These boxes are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until May 18th at 8 p.m. when polls close. Anyone who would like to volunteer to process mail-in ballots can apply through the Contact Us section of the Voter Services website. You're compensated for your time, and it's a great way to learn more about how mail-in ballots are processed and ultimately counted. We have also finalized Voter Services satellite locations throughout the county, where voters will be able to register to vote, apply for a mail-in ballot, complete their ballot, and turn it in. And more complete information about drop-off boxes and satellite locations, including the addresses and hours of operations, is located on the Voter Services website at www.montcopa.org/voter services. And if you are planning to vote in person, all polling location changes have been finalized and are posted on the Voter Services website under the section Voting in Person. And if your polling location changed for some reason during this election, you will receive a new registration card from Voter Services with that location there. And that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Gale, any opening comments?
I have no opening comments. Thank you.
All right, then we will move on to public comment on matters appearing on the agenda. And Ms. Co-Francisco, if we have individuals, I'll ask Mr. Stein to read the rules, but do we have anyone who would like to provide a public comment on matters appearing on the agenda?
Yes, we do have one individual, and just as a reminder, if you are logged in today, please use the raise your hand feature to indicate that you have public comment.
All right, Mr. Stein.
Yes, thank you, and good morning.
Good morning.
All speakers should identify themselves by name and municipality. All public comments must be relevant or germane to county business. Under the law, this means that the subject matter of all comments must be limited to items or issues which are currently before the commissioners for consideration or which may come before the commissioners for consideration at a future meeting. Whether a matter is germane to county business is a determination to be made by the county solicitor. Profane, slanderous, or discriminatory language or comments will not be tolerated in accordance with the county's non-discrimination policy. A time limit of 2 minutes will be monitored, and county staff will respectfully request speakers to conclude their comments if the speaker goes beyond the time allotted. The board is not required to respond to public comments during the course of the meeting, so the public is reminded this is not an opportunity for dialogue or questions and answers. The board chair may direct appropriate county staff to follow up on any questions or additional comments after the meeting. Disruptive behaviors, including but not limited to attempting to disrupt the meeting in any way, or arguing whether matter is germane to county business once the solicitor has made a determination on such, or refusing to yield the floor once time has elapsed and being requested to stop speaking, shall be grounds for muting or removal from the meeting without further admonishment or warning. As always, commissioners welcome written correspondence, comments, and feedback at commissioners@montgopa.org.
Great, thank you, Mr. Stein. And Ms. Cofrancisco, we're happy to start the comment.
Okay, our first comment is Laura Layman. You are now unmuted.
Okay, so the very first thing I'd like to say is it was again difficult to find the link for the meeting. I'm not understanding why we have to register at all, why you can't publish a link. Clearly, there is no onslaught of residents. You have one speaker, and allowing 2 minutes of speaking time when you have 800,000 residents and you have one speaker is absolutely, unconscionable. In addition, every single item on this agenda is affected by how much time we get to speak and who's allowed to cut us off. And Mr. Stein has not corrected the policy, which you all need to correct together, that says that he alone is the arbiter of what's germane to county business. We're here to solicit you to hear our pleas and our problems, and we're here to say we need legislation, which then may come before this board. We hope that what we are asking you will come before the board by the next meeting. So for him to suggest that he's the arbiter and decides what is not germane to county business, of course it's germane. If there is anything that we are asking the county to do, and not arguing with him is in violation of the Sunshine Law, which allows us at any time during the meeting to interrupt the meeting and actually explain our perceived problem with the speaking rights. And so that rule in and of itself, for you to continue reading it, is to mislead the residents of this county in the terms of the law. And he's a lawyer and shouldn't be doing that. And many of you are lawyers and you should not be doing that. Please stop.
Ms. Lehman, your time is up.
Yes, I know. And it shouldn't be. Do you think 800,000 residents in 2
Thank you,
minutes?
Ms. Lehman.
Next, we have Eva Ray. Eva, you'll just have to unmute yourself there.
That was
Eva, try
one more time. It was a mistake. Lower the hand. Sorry.
All right, anyone else for a comment on matters appearing on today's agenda?
We do not have anyone else with their hand raised at this time.
Okay, then we will move on to general public comment.
Okay, we have a few folks here. We will go to Lydia Chrisman.
Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Lydia Torres Kuzminski. I am a Montgomery County volunteer ombudsman. I acknowledge but continue to oppose the decision made by the Montgomery County administration to outsource the long-term care ombudsman program while in the midst of an ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The Older Americans Act of 1965, Chapter 2, Section 712 states, "The ombudsman shall personally or through representatives of the office, represent the interest of the residents before governmental agencies and seek administrative, legal, and other remedies to protect the health, safety, welfare, and rights of the residents. As a long-term care ombudsman, I represent and advocate for long-term care residents. I take the words to protect the health, safety, welfare, and rights of the residents seriously, and will continue to be a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. Although a subcontractor for the long-term care ombudsman program has not been disclosed by the Office of Senior Services to staff and volunteer ombudsmen, I firmly believe that ombudsman representation during the selection process is necessary. Establishing relationships between a new partner and ombudsman staff and volunteers will create a successful transition. Please be aware that the ombudsman program is losing experienced and qualified staff. This loss will decrease ombudsman services to the most vulnerable and hardest hit population by COVID. At a time when residents are beginning to receive in-person visits with families on a limited basis. It will take a long time for an unknown entity to put a qualified team together to provide the services to long-term care residents as mandated by federal and state governments. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will have John Kuzminski.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is John Kuzminski, and I'm a 21-year resident of Horsham Township. I'm a former corporate risk management executive with experience in outsourcing. I'm also the son of a former Montgomery long-term care resident. Acknowledging that a decision has already been made to outsource the Montgomery long-term care ombudsman responsibility, my purpose today is to make you aware of potential risks to the well-being of over 12,000 long-term care residents, including our most vulnerable older and disabled citizens, during the transitioning of the ombudsman function from the county to a third-party outsourcer. I'll also offer a recommendation on how to manage these risks. Undertaking an outsourcing transition, especially one that involves the transfer of relationships and proprietary knowledge, is complicated, and in my opinion, may take up to 18 months, especially given there are 126 facilities involved. Also, because of the volatility in the long-term care industry at this time, a complete assumption of responsibilities by an outsourcer may take even longer. The volatility that I speak of stems not only from the direct impact of the current pandemic on all parties, but also from the unstable state of long-term care facilities, and particularly nursing homes. These facilities have been stressed beyond their limits during the pandemic and are now experiencing aftershocks, including lower occupancy and reimbursements, shortages of staff and PPE, changing regulations and compliance rules, ownership transfers, and much more. The ombudsman work with residents, but also have to interact with facilities management and staff who are currently in crisis mode. In order to mitigate any harm to our long-term care residents, I would recommend that Montgomery insist upon a comprehensive, detailed transition plan from the outsourcer. Also, it is imperative that Montgomery Senior Services Management maintains continual involvement throughout the transition, providing both human and financial resources until there is reliable assurance that all long-term care residents are, once again, adequately protected by the new ombudsman. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will now go to Adrienne Seltzer.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Adrienne Seltzer, Lower Merion. I would like to piggyback on what Commissioner Lawrence said and remind people that there are also 4 ballot questions on the ballot for the primary. These ballot questions will be voted on by every registered voter. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, even though Pennsylvania is a closed primary state, which means only Democrats can vote for Democrats and Republicans can vote for Republicans. On ballot questions, everyone can vote. And it is irrelevant that it is a primary with these ballot questions because these are the final votes on these questions. Now, just to make it easy for all us voters, these questions are written in somewhere around a PhD level. So if you would like more explanation on that, I suggest you go to the League of Women Voters, vote411.org, so you can get an explanation of these ballot questions and give have some background on them. And also it gives you what it means to vote yes and what it means to vote no, because these questions are very confusing as they are written. And I want to remind everybody to go and vote, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Seltzer.
Okay, we will now go to Emma Hertz.
Good morning, Ms. Hertz. Nice to see you again.
Good morning. I'm sorry that I'm appearing at this point in the agenda. This is my first virtual meeting. So good morning, everyone. My name is Emma Hertz, and I work for Health Spark Foundation in Colmar. I wanted to speak to the plan later on the agenda today regarding establishing a vision for housing affordability. I want to lend my support for the plan as it's being presented, and truly just want to commend Mr. Zellers, Mr. France, Ms. Silver, and Mr. Alexander and their teams for their vision and collaboration on this effort. The pandemic has pushed us to act with urgency, but often that urgency has taken the form of short-term solutions or Band-Aid measures. In regard to housing, the eviction moratorium and rent relief funding have been important measures to address the current crisis, but really don't do anything to address the underlying and historic causes for why so many people are facing eviction or homeless in Montgomery County today. I truly feel that any person with both a heart and a brain can understand that safe, affordable housing is a human right. Our country hasn't done nearly enough to ensure that right for every person, though. I believe that this plan addresses the underlying issues of housing affordability with bold actions needed to make lasting change. The work outlined in this plan can only go so far, though. And so today I urge our commissioners, as well as the other residents viewing this meeting today, to continue to take the brave steps that are necessary to put this plan into action and to commit the resources of time, money, and political will to make sure the plan becomes a reality. Every Montgomery County resident deserves a safe and stable place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. We will go to Laura Layman.
So I have asked for a meeting with you, Dr. Arkush, or with all the commissioners to discuss the goings on in the planning department. And Mr. Stein, who is a lawyer, wrote back to me that Mr. Narkowicz seems to have no conflict of interest when the developer is paying a fee for his review of the document, and yet he is actually writing the document. So he's being paid on both sides. And the document that he wrote for the Willow Grove Mall, which may in fact allow as many as up to 2,000 units. We quickly went from the 365 that for 6 meetings, they were insisting that was all that was at play here, to 700. And that's only on one side of the area that was rezoned. The way it was rezoned was totally in the interest of the developer. And that Abington Township asked him to participate and participated with that is shameful because it is to be reviewed by Mr. Narkowicz. That's what those monies are for. And Mr. Narkowicz is paid and representing the county and the township and should be adjudicating those things on behalf of the residents. There's even a clause in there that allows both his document and the master zoning document, both of them say that they have priority wherever they differ. All of those things are not in the interests. And as you know, the chair of the Planning Commission had problems and had a grand jury negatively respond to his activities here in Abington. So how is he in charge of planning throughout Montgomery County? I know my time is up. Okay, and that's outrageous. That's a violation of sunshine law to have only 2
Thank you very
minutes.
much, Ms. Lehman.
All right, Ms. Francisco, anyone else?
That concludes our public comment.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. We will move on to approval of the minutes. I will move to approve the April 15th, 2021 minutes of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, we have several announcements and presentations this morning. We will begin with Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and I think we have a group here from the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia. So I will turn over to you.
Looks like Sharon is on a mute.
Ms. Hertz, you're muted if you're. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you.
Thank you. So I'm Sharon Hertz, the president of the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia. I'm humbled to be here in honor of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And I believe we are be presented a proclamation on behalf of AAPI residents and the Korean community representative in Montgomery County. The Korean community will celebrate our diverse Asian Pacific American communities this month and recognize the value of promoting different cultures. May is very special for the Korean community as we celebrate Children's Day on May 5th, President's Day, May 8th, and the Teacher's Day, May 15th. In our culture, it is titled Family Month in Korea. It's been a wonderful relationship that the AAPI community has been building in Montgomery County. And I'm so honored to receive this proclamation. Thank you so much for your recognition.
You're very welcome. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Hey, this is Paresh Villa here. I am Governor's Asian Commission member, also a president of an Indian organization, Greater Philadelphia. First of all, thank you to all the commissioners and Montgomery County for recognizing AAPI month. This is a month which actually, it is very important to get recognized because as an Asian American community who are a part of a society, who are in medical, shops, entrepreneur, it is a good recognition for them to know that, okay, we are a part of a society. And I think, thank you again for commissioners for your time today. And again, for this particular proclamations, we are very, very happy. And as a part of a Asian Commission member from governor, also an Indian American, it's pretty interesting to know that, okay, I think May is celebrated because it was the first Japanese guy in 1918, I think it's 1843, who came down. And I think that's why the May also has a significance of this particular month. Again, I thank you to all the commissioners for recognizing this AAPI month in Montgomery County. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And it's wonderful to have a representation from the Governor's Commission here with us today.
Thank you.
Any other individuals who would like to speak before I present the proclamation? Okay, terrific. Kelly, are you able to put the proclamation up? I will just read a part of it today, and I'm so sorry we can't be in person to to hand this to you directly, but I would like to just share part of the words of this proclamation with everyone. Whereas those of Asian and Pacific Islander origins constitute 8% of our population in Montgomery County and have enriched the ethnic and social fabric of our county with their diverse languages, cultures, and religious beliefs. And whereas those of Asian and Pacific Islander origin contribute to and enrich our community with their creativity, enterprise, and skill as professors, scientists, technologists, doctors, students, entrepreneurs, artists, workers, writers, investors, elected officials, philanthropists, and more, building and supporting a vibrant and resilient economy in Montgomery County. And whereas those of Asian and Pacific Islander origin are our beloved friends and family, our cherished neighbors and valued members of Montgomery County, where we remain committed to embracing and accepting all our residents from diverse backgrounds. And now, therefore, we do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And we encourage all residents to celebrate the history and culture of Asian Pacific Islanders and Asian Pacific Americans and their vital contributions to our county, our Commonwealth, and our country. And I just want to personally thank all of you for joining us here today. I recently had the honor of spending some time with a number of volunteers from the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia and was able to thank them personally for the extraordinary amount of service that they have provided to our community throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Members have sewn literally tens of thousands of masks that have been given away for free. They have helped with food delivery and check-ins on seniors. And I could go on and on with the service that they have provided. And on behalf of the county, I just want to say how grateful we all are to the community for your partnership, your friendship, and all that you've done for our Montgomery County community during this time. And with that, I'll turn over to Commissioner Lawrence.
Mr. Burla, I want to thank you for being here this morning. And I want to echo and affirm what you said. You are absolutely a part of our community. And we're happy to give this recognition. And Ms. Hertz, thank you for all the work that your association has done, as Commissioner Arkush said, during the pandemic. Early on making masks over a year ago when we just started with that effort, and all the work that your group has done as well to help people get vaccinated and overcome barriers there. So thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for all your work.
Commissioner Gale, any comments?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us this morning. I'd like them to take note. If you notice the proclamation that appeared on our screen, the proclamation didn't show the bottom. It wasn't scrolled all the way down. That's because my colleagues deliberately exclude my name from the proclamations to be vindictive and petty towards me. I'd like to apologize to the Asian Americans across Montgomery County. This is very insulting to them, and the whole purpose is to celebrate the achievements of the Asian American community, and also not to divide, but to bring us all together. And this clearly does not do that. So please share with the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia and your members that I am in strong support of the Asian American community. And I know many of the members there are very well aware of that. So thank you again for joining us this morning.
Great. Well, thank you all. And hopefully we'll get to see you in person again soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Older Americans Centenarian Month with Doreen Hespel from our Office of Senior Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for having us again. This year we missed last year due to the pandemic, but we're happy to be back. In tough times, communities find strength in people, and people find strength in their communities. In the past year, we've seen this time and again in Montgomery County as friends, neighbors, and businesses have found new ways to support each other. In our community, older adults are a key source of this strength. Through their experiences, successes, difficulties, they have built resilience that helps them to face new challenges. And when communities tap into this, they become stronger too. Each May, the Administration for Community Living leads the celebration of Older Americans Month. This year's theme is Communities of Strength, recognizing the important role that older adults play in fostering the connection and the engagement that builds strong, resilient communities. Strength is built and shown not only by bold acts, but also by small ones day-to-day life. Conversation with a friend, working in the garden, trying a new recipe, or just taking time out of a busy day for a cup of tea. And when we share these activities with others, even virtually, or by telling about the experience later, we help them build resilience too. This year, the Office of Senior Services will celebrate Older Americans Month by encouraging community members to continue to share their experiences. Together, we can find strength and create a stronger future. I wanted to share a little bit of census data very briefly, but I found it interesting. According to the US Census data in 2018, 16% of, or 52 million Americans were 65 or older. By 2030, an estimated 73 million, or 1 in 5 Americans, will be 65 and older. And in 2034, older adults are expected to outnumber children under age 18 for the first time in history. It doesn't sound like it's right around the corner, but it's only 12 and a half years from now, and it really is. We need to begin to prepare for that day, excuse me, by building structure and programs that will enhance the ways we meet the needs of our future older adults. We need to bring awareness to this population, seek their guidance and strength, embrace their history, and learn from it. I do want to take this opportunity to thank those older and younger adults who took the time to volunteer and assist our seniors without internet access to register and schedule their vaccination appointments. We assisted over 3,200 in just 9 weeks, 3,200 individuals to register via our Montgomery hotline. And through this effort, we also identified 247 older adults who responded that they live alone and would benefit from well-check calls. That's a program we provided at the beginning of the pandemic last year, and we want to offer as an ongoing program in the very near future. I have a couple events I'd like to also highlight today. The Monco Senior Games, they are having them this year. They're going to serve a light program, LITE, and it's scheduled for next week, the 10th through the 13th. 12 events or so will be scheduled, and so far about 300 have registered, which is a good number. All events will be held outdoors, social distancing protocol will be followed, and the registration is still available for events, and I believe it's on the screen now. This is how they can register if anybody is still interested in that. So the Senior Games is still on this year in a smaller mode, but they still have a lot of interest, which I think is wonderful. And of course, last but definitely not least, we want to highlight our centenarians. Last year, we were not able to do much with that. Usually we have a luncheon, and we have a great, we have a great committee that plans a great luncheon for our senior centenarians. This year, I want to introduce and I want to thank Denise Pottinger, Courtney Thurston, and Juliana Guarna for creating a great virtual experience for our centenarians. It's a little different than other years, but they did an awesome job. And I have, all three are here today. I definitely want to thank them. And Juliana is going to say a few words about the program.
Am I on?
Yes, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. I'm Juliana Guarna, Principal Graphic Designer with the Planning Commission and third member of the 3-member County Centenarian team. My teammates are Denise Pottinger, Courtney Thurston with the Office of Senior Services. Denise attended a February communication work group meeting for other events that were going virtual. She contacted Courtney and me thinking we might want to consider Older Americans Month in the same manner. In 2019, we had 55 centenarians show up for our event. In 2020, we had to cancel, of course, due to COVID-19. And we sent certificates via snail mail to 26 known county centenarians after losing contact with the Social Security office in Norristown. I suggested that I design the posters we usually do for the event and have them rotate on the OSS website for the centenarians and sign up online with new biographies and upload their photos. We agreed this was a great idea, and Courtney put this in motion by contacting Tammy Tarlowski, who operates the website, and created a form for centenarians to upload with their photos, new photos, and new biographies, and Brandon Alexander, who handles the OSS social media. I contacted Kelly Co-Francisco and Colin McGlinchey, who also helped promote our idea on the county website and social media. To date, we have 10 centenarian posters rotating daily on the website or featured one per day on social media. We decided to extend our deadline into the month of May, as Denise has reached out to care facilities in the county and found another 22 centenarians. And as soon as I receive their information, I will make posters for them, and they will be on the OSS website as well. But that's not all. We had 4 sponsors who gave money in 2020, and that money was just sitting there. I sent Denise and Courtney a brochure from one of my vendors filled with beautiful gifts and suggested we use that money to purchase something for our centenarians, as we had done on our 10th anniversary, which was a gorgeous glass frame with their 5x7 photo inside. It was unanimous decision, and Denise contacted our 4 sponsors, and they were also thrilled. So we purchased a top-of-the-line, oversized, insulated tote bag with zippered tops. The front panel has 12th Annual Montgomery County Centenarian Celebration with the 4 sponsor logos, the OSS logo, and the Older American logo. Inside the bag will be a surprise gift from the county. And we came well under budget. Courtney always comes up with many things that happened 100 years ago to help me design the theme for the year and add to the goodie tote. The Babe Ruth candy bar came out in 1921, so we're searching now to find full-size candy bars to add to the tote, along with that beautiful gift that we've purchased, and a loving letter to our cherished centenarians. Hopefully, Courtney and the remaining ombudsman will be able to deliver these bags to every centenarian at the end of May when the month is up. I can't tell you what the gift is. It's a secret. If you'd like to know, please follow up with me at the end of May, and I'd be happy to divulge the mystery. I know I speak for Denise and Courtney when I say that this team is more than just a team. We devote more than our county hours. We've gone to centenarians' home to sing happy birthday with signs and balloons during COVID. We get to know the facilities, the volunteers, the sponsors, the centenarians, but most of all, we open our hearts, and all of these people have become our families. Thank you.
Okay, I'm done with my part as well. And I think I'm so thankful for the team and what they put together for our centenarians. Really thankful for them.
Well, thank you all so much. It's really been an extraordinary year, and our Office of Senior Services has done such an amazing job from the early days, just making sure that people were checking in on seniors, making sure people still had their food deliveries, to this absolutely critical work to help those that want to be vaccinated get vaccinated. And I don't know if you were on at the very beginning for my opening remarks, but we now have 96% of the individuals who are 65 years or older in the county having had at least one or in many cases, both doses of the vaccine. So hooray. Really fantastic progress as we get our most vulnerable individuals vaccinated. So I just want you to know how important the work is that you've been doing. And I know we all miss the Centenarian Luncheon. It is one of the things I look most forward to every single year. Ms. Hespel, I don't want to but do you have our current count of how many centenarians live in the county? I know it's you know, in the couple of hundreds, and I'm always just
I don't have an exact. We asked, we get that through the Social Security Administration, and it takes a while to come up with that. So I do not have a count this year. I don't, unfortunately.
Well, there's clearly something good in the air or the water or something here, because I know we have a very, very large number of those individuals. So thank you all so much. We will be sending over the proclamation that we send over every year. And I'm sorry we're not here together to hand it to you, but turn over to Commissioner Lawrence for any comments.
Greene, it's great to see you. Thank you for your leadership over the past year. Thank you for all the work that the Office of Senior Services has done. I'm thrilled that the senior games are back. It's getting back to a sense of normalcy. And Juliana, thank you for all your hard work to recognize our centenarians as well. You'll have to shoot me an email and let me know what the gift is. I won't make you expose it here on the Zoom, but it's wonderful the passion that you show to make sure that our citizens are still recognized, even though we can't do the normal lunch. So thank you and the committee for all your efforts on that.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Gale, any comments?
Yes, I too missed the events that took place, that would have taken place in 2020 to celebrate our seniors, the senior games, the annual Centenarian Luncheon, and I'm glad that's coming back and we can celebrate the significant accomplishments our senior citizens have contributed to society and to make our quality of life better over all the years. So I'm anxious to celebrate with them and we can learn so much from our seniors, from their wisdom and life experiences. It's truly a blessing to have them all. And Ms. Hespel, please pass on to the employees in the Office of Senior Services that I appreciate everything they do to provide important services to our senior citizens. As you probably are well aware, my name will not be provided won't be seen on the proclamation. My colleagues removed my name on the proclamations, and it's really disgusting that politics has to come into play and insult our senior citizens when we should be celebrating their achievements. And I know many senior citizens across Montgomery County elected me as commissioner and re-elected me as commissioner. And please make sure that the staff in the Office of Senior Services knows that I am a proud supporter of all the hard work they do to serve the community. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
All right, next up is Pam Howard as we honor Mental Health Awareness Month.
Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
I have recently been reading about how positively gratitude can impact your brain and your mental health. And I thought that would be a good theme for my remarks today. I have to say, it is truly from a place of gratitude that I stand here today. With so much going on at this time last year, we did not have the opportunity to truly honor Mental Health Month in the ways that we traditionally do. And you know, we like to celebrate it. That courthouse is lit up green. Mental Health Month feels so important because it is important to honor the hardworking staff of our provider community. And more important, to celebrate all of the individual triumphs in the face of adversity that happen here every single year. Mental health challenges can be extremely hard, debilitating, and even life-threatening at times, but with help comes hope. And I will say that this time last year, a lot of attention was being paid to mental health, and I truly thank you for the large role that you played in that. Right away, you demonstrated your understanding that isolation and feeling alone are the arch enemy of mental well-being. So early on, you were out there saying, it's okay to not be okay, which was a phrase that was so crucial in the early days of the pandemic, but also one that we want people to carry with them for always. One, because mental health challenges are extremely common, but also because as the world continues on a positive path of reopening, people get back to their regular and sometimes stressful activities, there will be those for whom the pandemic hit harder. And because perhaps they're grieving loss or battling economic hardship, and maybe don't feel comfortable going back to school, they will likely feel left behind. It's important not only to have the words, but also ways to promote help and hope immediately. And I can picture the briefings early in the pandemic, and you had that mobile crisis number right over your shoulder. And don't worry if you didn't catch it then, because I'm going to put it up at the end of this. But it's a number that I wish that every single Montgomery County resident would put in their phone. You never know when someone in your circle of friends or your family, perhaps even a coworker, might need it. You don't have to be in a full-blown crisis to use it. I like to say, when in doubt, reach out. It's better not to wait. I feel extremely grateful for the dedicated and heroic staff of all of our provider organizations in Montgomery County who serve individuals and families who experience mental health challenges. They showed up and worked hard to keep all of our psychiatric hospitals and our residential programs and our treatment services going. And many of them flipped their services and supports to telehealth. Things like student assistance programs shifted to telehealth. Telehealth has been an amazing resource, and it will continue into the future, I am sure. It's helped people who have had transportation issues in the past or needed childcare and couldn't get to services, really be able to keep all of their appointments. But putting the pandemic aside for a minute, which I think we all like to do now and then, I just like to always express gratitude for the way that you help to promote and support the activities that we always do in our mental health system. I know that you're all big fans of peer support, which is a pillar of a recovery-oriented system. And you're out there advocating for children and our work in promoting school-based outpatient programs and our combined work with our drug and alcohol partners for our student assistance programs. You support our work with law enforcement training and our criminal justice partners to decrease the numbers of individuals who experience mental illness in our county jail and our work with the National Stepping Up Initiative. And you promote an understanding of the impact of trauma and adverse child experiences on both our physical and our mental health. You listen to the voices of people in recovery and what types of help they feel is essential, how much of it is connected to the social determinants of health, things like housing and food security, employment, and education. And I just have to really express my gratitude for your leadership with the County Commissioners Association in Pennsylvania to help our legislators understand that there has not been a cost of living increase on our community mental health dollars in 2008. That means that our service system has to shrink. We cannot be talking about the importance of mental health in 2021 with a mental health system that is funded with 2008 dollars. Lastly, I want to take a moment to express my appreciation for the hard work and dedication of the staff of the Office of Mental Health under the leadership of Vera Zanders for adults and Erin Seifert-Townsend for our children's team, as well as our managed care solutions partners under Leanne Moyer and Megan Schrog, and our drug and alcohol partners under Lynn Singleton Moore. I feel blessed to work side by side with a passionate group of caring individuals who are so interested in improving the lives of individuals who experience mental health challenges in Montgomery County. So thank you for allowing me a little time to work on my mental wellness with these expressions of gratitude. I wanted to be a little demonstrative too about the idea we're very interested in prevention and wellness, but about the idea that we can all be paying attention to our mental wellness by doing intentional things. Fortunately, they're very similar to things that you do to keep physically healthy, like good sleep and getting out on the Montco trails. I was just looking at the data from people who participated in the Trail Challenge and noticed that 96% of them said that they improved their mental health. I signed up yesterday. But I am going to put up really quickly, if I can here. Can I do that, Kelly? Or can I share the screen, my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I do want to just put up the number for mobile crisis, just so that everyone can access this. Crisis support is available 24/7. And the number 1-855-634-HOPE, that's 4673. And I also just want to take a moment to note as well that we have peer support and teen talk lines that are available in Montgomery County from 1 to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. There's an adult text and call line and a teen text and call line as well that's manned by teens. And I think this is, really important to get these numbers out always, because it is the way that if someone does not know how to access help, that there's one number to call and they can get on a path to help. So thank you very much.
Well, Pam, you flip this around, but really we are here today to thank you and your team and all of the folks in the county that collaborate with you and all of our providers. You have just been steadfast and so positive and forward looking throughout this past very difficult year. You have pivoted and pivoted and pivoted again as this pandemic has worn on, and never really missed a beat at all. You know, I think the shift to the telehealth services was fast and really robust. And I think for some members of our community, as you pointed out, perhaps almost a better improvement for them in terms of accessing services. So we've learned a lot. And I think some things that have come up during this past year will persist, and rightly so. But just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work that you've done this year to help make sure that everyone in our community is safe and has the supports and services that they need. And I'm so grateful for all the work that your team does. This work is difficult. As you pointed out, it has been chronically underfunded by the state. This has been an issue that we have raised up repeatedly, both in person with testimony in Harrisburg and through the County Commissioners Association. And we will not let up, because this is an area that must be rectified. So thank you so much for everything that you do. And with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you. Pam, I had to smile when you asked Kelly if you could share your screen, because I don't think anyone says no to you, Pam. So you are a force of nature, and you give us far too much credit. In those early days when we were doing the daily press conferences, it was you who reminded us and urged us that we needed to talk about mental health, not just about the numbers, but that people were home, alone, struggling, and we needed to provide that information. So thank you for all your work. I know it was a difficult year for you and your staff, but as Val said, you did pivot, providing the telehealth services, and we know that we're not out of this yet. As we reopen, we know that there are still people out there struggling. So I appreciate you always constantly reminding us to think about that and urging us to do better and to do more. So thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gale?
Ms. Howard, thank you for joining us today. Improving the quality of life of individuals who suffer from mental health is extremely challenging, and we saw that in 2020. That was a particularly challenging year for those that suffer with mental health. And it's clear that it's an all hands on deck approach that we need to help people that are suffering from mental health. It's everyone from our Department of Behavioral Health to law enforcement to educators to social workers. It's an all hands approach that's needed. And unfortunately, my colleagues don't see that this way. My name's excluded from the proclamation. So please express my deep gratitude and appreciation to your team. I appreciate all the hard work they're doing to benefit members and constituents in Montgomery County that are in need of help. Like I said, this is a challenging effort, and we all have to work together to better their lives. So thank you for everything you do, Ms. Howard.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks.
All right, next we have an exciting announcement, which is our new portion of our Pennypack Trail is about to open, or is open, and we have Donna Fabry, one of our senior planners.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Arkush. Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna share my screen here, if it's all right. Get going through this PowerPoint. Can everyone see that? Okay, so yes, today marks the official announcement of the opening of the Pennypack Trail. We're very excited to announce this, as the Pennypack Trail essentially crosses all the way through the county at this point, just about to the Philadelphia border and up to County Line Road with Bucks and Montgomery County. So here's a photo of the new section looking north. Looking south. And this is part of a 0.7 mile connection. The entire trail extends for 6.2 miles from Rockledge Borough to the Bucks County line. And this is one of our most popular trails. It's an extremely scenic corridor, and people really enjoy using it throughout the year. Even in the coldest times, there will be quite a number of cars in the parking lot. So we've seen a lot of success We see about 375,000 visitors to Lorimer Park and the Pennypack Trail. And that number, we imagine, will only continue to grow, especially as we get into these inter-county connections. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the background of the trail's history. We started this project back in 2008 by hiring Wilson Consulting Group to design the trail. And that was a section through Lorimer Park. And that was open to the public in June 2009. A couple of years later, Commissioner Josh Shapiro initiated the next phase of construction, and this involved extending the trail both to the north and the south. So in the south, we constructed about 6.6 miles of the trail corridor to extend from Lorimer Park at Morden Road down to Rockledge Park. And then a significant piece to this improvement was this bridge over one of the tributaries of the creek. To the north, the trail extended from Huntington Pike up to Byberry Road, which is about 3 miles of trail corridor. And there were several other initiatives going on to complete this section. That included several small bridge repairs, the crossing of the SEPTA line, as you can see here, putting in a signalized crossing, and developing 2 parking lots to accommodate trail users. So with that all complete, that left us with the 0.7 miles from Byberry Road up to County Line Road remaining. And a major challenge in completing that section was coordinating with Norfolk Southern for access under their railroad bridge. And as you can see here, we've made quite a significant improvement to this area while protecting trail users to be safe from any debris that would fall off of this active rail line. So last fall, we constructed a signalized pedestrian crossing so users can safely cross Byberry Road, because it is a mid-block crossing. And if you're familiar with that area, traffic is really speeding through there, and we want to make sure people are safe. So there's a pedestrian refuge island in the street and flashing lights to help facilitate users' safety at that crossing. As I mentioned, we have 0.7 miles of the trail built. It's about a 10-foot wide trail made of crushed fines and similar to the rest of the trail surface. So as part of this effort, our design consultants were Chris Stanford was the project manager from Michael Baker, and Chris Greene with Gilmore and Associates. Our contractors for the construction of the corridor and the canopy is Flyway Excavating out of Mount Joy in Lancaster County, and Miller Brothers from Conshohocken constructed the signalized crossing. And I'd like to give a special shout out to our parks crew, Tom Bonner's group, Dave Clifford, Scott Morgan, and John Mandrecchia. This is essentially handing over the trail from the Planning Commission into maintenance mode now. And they were really great with all the input they provided along the way from a maintenance perspective. And I also am very pleased that we were able to complete this trail, as Scott Morgan is going to be retiring from the county next month after 39 years of service. So this is like really I thought a neat way to send him off, because he was there throughout the whole construction of the trail from day one. I'd also like to thank the commissioners for their support of funding the trail. Our gross project cost was around $875,000. We did receive a small grant from DVRPC's Regional Trails Program that helped offset some of the design costs. So the total project cost for this section, the 0.7 miles, came in around $825,000. Like I said, that was from county capital funds. So we really appreciate your support to continue to get these trails built. Regionally speaking, this is a really exciting opportunity. Bucks County is actively working on completing a 2.5-mile section of their Newtown Rail Trail that will extend from County Line Road, where our Pennypack Trail leaves off, up into Upper Southampton Township. And we're anticipating the completion of a signalized crossing over County Line Road to facilitate trail use between the two counties. But until that occurs, it's not safe to cross that road. So our trail essentially ends, but within the next couple months, we'll keep you updated when that connection happens. And we're hoping to have a ribbon cutting or driving of a golden spike to celebrate this momentous occasion of linking the two counties together. Ultimately, that trail is envisioned to extend up to Newtown Borough. And at the south end, on the Philadelphia side, we have two connections. So currently we have nature trails that extend through Lorimer Park into Fox Chase Farm in Philadelphia. And once you cross Pine Road in Philadelphia, you can take Philadelphia's Pennypack Trail 10.2 miles down to the Delaware River. Also, Philadelphia is actively working on connecting the Fox Chase SEPTA station to Rockledge Park. So that will help facilitate trail to transit use for those commuters in the local areas. So, and those are, so overall, this is like a tri-county connection when it will be fully built out for approximately 25 miles or so between Newtown and the Delaware River. So this is really exciting to see this moving forward. And that completes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Great. Donna, thank you so much. This is really exciting, and looking forward to getting out there on my bike soon and checking it out. It looks just beautiful. And I know this has been a trail with a lot of technical challenges, some pretty substantial ones. And it's just terrific to see us making this kind of progress. So thank you and your team for all their work. And I know as it gets handed over to our Parks and Trails team that they will take very, very good care of it. And can't wait to get out there. So Commissioner Lawrence?
Donna, great presentation. Thank you. I can tell you I heard from 5 people this past weekend who were already on the trail. I said, I don't think it's open yet. I know it's impossible to keep people off, but already the feedback that I've heard has been great. People are really enjoying it. I can't wait to get out there on my bike as well and ride the trail. But thank you for all your work in steering this and getting this complete and passing it on now to our Parks and Trails Department.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gale?
Donna, thank you for this great update. I encourage everyone to get out and use our beautiful trail system. The weather's great, and it's a great family activity and a good way to healthy choices out on the beautiful trails we have. And your presentation lays out how much work goes on behind the scenes to make these trails a reality. And I appreciate what you and your team have done to make this accomplishment take place here in Montgomery County. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Mr. Soltesiak.
Just a quick comment that this has been one heck of a relay race since the mid 80s, I think is what I have been told was the first time that this trail or this potential trail could be turned into a trail. And there's been a lot of staff and a lot of administrations and a lot of sweat equity since then. So thank you to you and to the entire team.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. Okay, we will move on to resolutions. First up is approval of amendments to the 2019 annual action plan. Ms. Kaylee Silver, from our Senior Manager of Housing and Homeless Services.
Good morning, commissioners and staff. I'm here to briefly request a final resolution for reallocation of funding from the 2 rounds of Emergency Solutions Grant awarded in early spring of 2020 to assist in preparing, preventing, and responding to the effects of COVID-19 on those experiencing homelessness. Due to changing needs and budget, a reallocation of some portion of ESGCV1 and ESGCV2 funding was necessary. These proposed reallocations and changes were presented during the April 15th, 2021 Board of Commissioners meeting. That same day, these funding recommendations and changes were posted publicly on the Office of Housing and Community Development website. And then that Monday, we published in local newspapers, and public comment on the funding proposals was open from April 19th through May 4th. Comments were accepted via mail, email, and by any other means to the public. And additionally, an open virtual public hearing via WebEx was held on the evening of April 28th at 5 p.m. We have received no public comments, and thus we believe the funding recommendations to be in alignment with the needs in the community for those experiencing homelessness. As a quick reminder, these funds will support emergency shelter rehab and renovation, emergency shelter operations, street outreach, landlord incentives to provide permanent housing for those experiencing homelessness, and support for our database, the Homeless Management Information System. The funding reallocation requires an amendment to my office's 2019 Annual Action Plan. So with this resolution and amendment, we will begin the act of funding these eligible activities. And I thank you for your support.
Great, thank you, Ms. Silver. I will move that the proper county officials, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, subject to the approval of the county solicitor, hereby approve the amendment to the 2019 Annual Action Plan, including the attached list of proposed activities for funding under the Emergency Solutions Grant programs, and formally recommend the plan to the participating groups within the County of Montgomery and to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development as listed in the exhibit attached hereto. Be it further resolved that the proper county officials are hereby authorized to submit the substantial amendment of the 2019 Annual Action Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for their review and acceptance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Silver. All right, next, establishing a vision for housing affordability in Montgomery County. We have Dave Zellers, Scott France, Ms. Kaylee Silver, and Jason Alexander.
Good morning, commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity today. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms in our county family as well. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by my colleagues and present the Homes for All report and vision. This is the result of a multidisciplinary, multi-year project focused on the future of housing affordability in Montgomery County. A collaborative project between the Office of Housing and Community Development, the Commerce Department, the Montgomery County Planning Commission, and a cross-section of stakeholders. This work addresses one of the most important matters, if not the most important at this moment in time, the places we each call home. Like so many projects and initiatives, this began as a conversation amongst colleagues. And once the process started, we learned quickly that more important than a final document was the need to create something that imbued us all with a spirit of ambition and an attitude that embraced the vision to take on that which others would dismiss as insurmountable. In other words, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? And perhaps most importantly, why not us? Along the way, we discovered a prior county project focused on housing affordability that we believe was the last time something like this was done by Montgomery County. And it looked as if it was written on a typewriter. It had the standard set of metrics, goals, general statements that you expect to find in a static report. Today, what we have for you is something that is focused on vision, is focused on wide-ranging solutions across a full range of stakeholders and a reflection of the very best practices and most cutting-edge thinking nationally. The challenges and opportunities of housing affordability must live and breathe and not be confined to static reports. The need to embrace this in whole has only been amplified during the experiences of the past year. As our colleague Jason Alexander from Capacity for Change reminded us, prepared for today's presentation, the creation of an initial framework of vision and the aspirational approach was the same way Your Way Home began. And what better example of the kinds of impactful things we can achieve as a county family when we come together with passion and commitment than Your Way Home itself. Next, you'll hear from Jason regarding the methodology and process that led to today. And Scott France will walk you through the key insights, ideas, and concepts found in the document itself. And lastly, Kaylee Silver and Jason will talk about how this vision will begin to infuse itself into a broader scope of work for the future. I'll close with two final points. First, I'd like to thank all of the county staff who worked on and supported this project, as well as all of our partners and the members of the public who participated in this effort. Second, just a brief anecdote to share to illustrate how important this issue is right now beyond our borders. Last Thursday, the Baltimore Sun published a piece on the conversations and tribulations of housing affordability in Baltimore County, Maryland, a county with a similar population to our own, a county with great communities and beautiful open spaces just like us, a county that borders a major city and is part of an incredibly dynamic region just like us. The article closed with a quote from Enterprise Community Development, part of Enterprise Community Partners, a national leader on housing affordability projects and policies. And the quote was, "What does it mean to live in a world, in a region that is accommodating to everyone who's here?" I cannot think of a better question to ask or something greater to aspire to as we look forward to the work ahead. And with that, I will turn this over to Jason to talk about the methodology and process.
Good morning, commissioners, and thank you, Dave. I want to outline the process we use to arrive at the Homes for All recommendations report. The planning process involved nearly 2 years of inclusive data-driven planning to arrive at our final recommendations. The report includes and incorporates lessons learned from the pandemic and its impact on local housing needs, as well as national housing funding and policy trends. More importantly, the report also reflects the voices of Montgomery County residents that are struggling with housing affordability and finding permanent housing opportunities. This includes residents with disabilities, residents experiencing or at risk of homelessness, and working families and individuals spending more than 30% or sometimes even more than 50% of their monthly income on their rent, utilities, and mortgage. We started the process by recruiting a broad multi-sector advisory board to serve as volunteers to guide the entire planning process over this period. That board included municipal and township officials, housing developers, supportive housing providers, local business leaders, housing advocates, and faith-based organizations, among others. The advisory board was supported throughout the planning project by an interdepartmental task force comprised of staff from the Montgomery County Planning Commission, the Commerce Department, and the Department of Human Services, Office of Housing and Community Development. And that task force gathered together and analyzed multiple data sources, cross-referencing some of them for the very first time about our local housing market, our local economic development patterns, and vulnerable population data of Montgomery County residents struggling with housing affordability. We then interviewed, surveyed, and conducted focus groups with over 200 community members throughout Montgomery County, including residents, landlords, housing developers, municipal and township officials, nonprofit health and human service providers, and local businesses, as well as others. In addition, we interviewed several national experts who understand how the challenges we face have been addressed and dealt with by communities like ours, and we incorporated their recommendations into our report as well. Finally, we took a careful look at how other communities like Montgomery County around the country have advanced housing affordability through policy, practice, and partnership models that are successful. And we turned all that into the report, which was first reviewed by the advisory board, as well as being presented to the Your Way Home Advisory Council, a group appointed by the commissioners to oversee the work of ending and preventing homelessness in Montgomery County, and finally by leadership from all three departments involved in the planning process. And that's the final version of the report we are presenting today, and I will turn it over to Scott.
Thank you, Jason and Dave. Good morning, commissioners. I'm charged with kind of giving you an overview of the content of the report, and I'll keep it very brief out of respect for time. But of course, we could go into quite some depth on these topics. You know, as was stated earlier, we really made sure we acknowledged COVID. Not only did it disrupt our process, but it really emphasized the need for this issue. As with many issues, COVID has laid inequities bare. Lost jobs and wages are felt most acutely by workers with less education and or fewer means. And geography also matters. We see greater clusters of impact, both in terms of housing affordability as well as those who are most on the edge with this issue. So the data side of it, really, we pointed to a few things right off the bat that really emphasize the need. And this isn't a new need, but things are kind of coming together right now, and it's the most important time to address this, as Dave said. We release median housing prices reports every year at the Planning Commission. Our most recent one came out last month for 2020. And in that year alone, the median housing price rose $25,000, around almost 10%. And that's pretty high. We see high numbers like that in other years too, throughout the last decade or two. And there's a lot going into it. It's not just the market itself. Montgomery County is a wonderful place to be and a hot market. That's a great thing. But there's other impacts that ultimately affect affordability. We have very low housing inventory. In fact, it's at a record low right now. And with the amount of time available housing being on the market only drives prices up with demand. We're also seeing materials go up at rates that really haven't been seen in some time. And it's not even just lumber, but all materials. So new units are coming in higher than ever as far as cost goes. And it takes a while for that to have an impact on existing housing and prices to stay affordable. And finally, we have generational mismatches even contributing toward it. We have more seniors than ever aging in place and increasing in numbers. So our housing supply doesn't always match the needs of those looking for housing, especially at the first-time home buyers or younger household markets, as well as non-traditional households. It's not just the family of four. That's actually the minority in terms of types of households looking for housing right now. Another point is the geography of the county's affordability having changed significantly. It used to be for decades where there were certain parts of the county where you'd find naturally occurring more affordable housing. Our boroughs and our urban environments tended to have existing housing stock where someone could get their first start at owning a home and join the community. Those markets, through no fault of anyone's, and again, it's a good thing, have become very hot for all levels of buyers. The walkability, the characteristics of our boroughs have really drawn people into it, and that in turn drives demand up and drives prices up of older housing stock. So now those who need to rely on the more affordable entry point are forced to look elsewhere, and there may not be as desirable or just not as much housing available to fit that need. We see places like Conshohocken, Narberth, West Conshohocken, Trapp, and Ambler become some of the hottest markets in the county. And that used to be where you could find more housing affordability. Following in their footsteps, we have places like Abington, Hatboro, Lansdale, and Jenkintown, which are also developing a market and going through some of the same kind of changes. And then, we have to look at the equity standpoint of housing affordability. And I think Jason talked about, we generally look to 30% of a household's income going towards housing costs as being kind of a healthy level for people to address their other needs and live comfortably. So many people are not at that level and have to spend more on housing right now. The problem's worse for renter households, but it's also affecting owner income households. In fact, 50% of households making between $35,000 and $50,000 annually are cost burdened. They're paying more than that 30% level. And if you're a renter, that rate has gone up recently. Almost 50% of renters are paying more than 30% of their household income in housing costs. So that has profound effects. It affects your ability to handle other necessities. It leads to housing instability. And the public health component can't be overlooked. The mental health of not knowing if you're going to be in a crisis situation is terribly disheartening and impactful on a household. So these are all the issues we're trying to address with this effort. And we look at who needs housing for all. And this is where we get into some of the strategies and some of the recommendations that can be applied. And you start with municipalities. We have 62 local governments in our county, and they're all charged with creating the regulations and through their zoning of how housing both comes into their municipality as well as gets redeveloped. And a lot of times it's unintended. You see that those regulations deter the provision of housing affordability. And sometimes there are regulations that are intended. And this is a problem throughout the state. There's not a lot of legislation to help influence this. So it becomes charged with us to really help educate and advocate for good policies that open up housing diversity and housing opportunity. Municipalities are starting to see this too, and they know that some of their younger populations, their children and their grandparents, in order to stay in the community, don't always have the access to the housing they need to make that happen. So it really benefits across the community to have a diverse population. So we want to address the regulatory barriers and provide good information for municipalities to consider and hopefully make changes over time. There's also non-regulatory barriers with strategies to address when we look at our funding programs and our things in place throughout the county with the housing department and the housing authority. And there's things we can do there, as well as increasing our planning efforts, more hyper-local analysis of what's happening in a community and how that impacts the future of that community, both in terms of where people live and how they live. And then employers are going to be a big part of this strategy. We hear all the time, and Dave certainly hears in the Commerce Department, having a stable workforce is important, and stable housing promotes that. Sometimes some levels of their employees are not able to live in the areas where they work or even have good transit to get to those workplaces. And that can have an impact on the bottom line of a business or how they grow. So we've heard from this, and I think the potential there is why this is recommendations today are entering into a public-private partnership type of format, where we can engage with our private partners and find solutions, as well as cooperation and new strategies that'll help address it. And then finally, our Health and Human Services safety net. We've always had programs in place, and especially with Your Way Home, addressing the most vulnerable residents, including seniors and people with disabilities and those experiencing homelessness. We're starting to see those resources stretch thin and those vulnerable populations expand, especially with COVID. And some of our important parts of our population, with even in the last year, we've seen teachers, first responders, retail staff, restaurant industry workers find themselves in situations that they did not expect. And housing stability and affordability really becomes one of the most significant factors if they can't reach that. So we're going to be looking at that as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kaylee Silver of Your Way Home.
Good morning again, commissioners and staff, and thank you, Scott, Dave, and Jason. I just want to take a moment to talk a bit about why the Homes for All plan and initiative is a perfect fit for the Your Way Home public-private partnership. So as you know, since 2014, Your Way Home has made really incredible strides in ending homelessness in our community. Informed by the collective impact model of solving complex and deeply rooted social problems, Your Way Home has been a leading and nationally recognized model as a cross-sector collaboration between county agencies, nonprofit service providers, philanthropic foundations, businesses, landlords, faith organizations, homeless advocates, people with lived expertise, and other community partners committed to our mission and vision. Programmatically, Your Way Home has assisted in finding permanent housing for thousands of individuals living outside or in a shelter. And we continue to see really great success in our Eviction Prevention and Intervention Coalition, which helps prevent evictions for hundreds of households in Montgomery County. We've been successful because of our coordinated and collaborative approach. However, we have yet to achieve our biggest goal of completely ending homelessness in our county. And when we take a closer look, we see that the problem of housing affordability and housing instability is becoming an increasing struggle for those who have experienced or may be close to experiencing homelessness. We know that prior to the pandemic, according to a study by the United Way, about 23% of Montgomery County residents qualified as asset limited, income constrained, and employed or ALICE households. And what this often means, as this has been kind of touched upon, is that we have a lot of households who are often one financial crisis away from having to choose to pay for either rent or their mortgage or food or another basic necessity. And we believe that this percentage has likely increased since the pandemic. And while Your Way Home's evidence-informed strategies of exiting people from homelessness and working with eviction prevention are making great strides, we really need a longer-term solution of increased housing affordability to help help people remain more stably housed in the long term and in the first place. And even with the influx of public funding from the pandemic, including almost 50 million for emergency rent and utility assistance and more opportunity for short-term housing subsidies, we see that these one-time influxes of emergency cash are a short-term solution. And what's really needed is a longer-term strategy and vision. And this comes with Homes for All. With the adoption of Homes for All under the umbrella of the successful Your Way Home public-private partnership, we can broaden Your Way Home's mission to ensure that everyone who lives, works, learns, and invests in Montgomery County has equal opportunity to live in an affordable home and a thriving community. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Jason Alexander with Capacity for Change to just talk a little bit more about next steps in embracing this plan as a Your Way Home initiative.
Thank you, Kaylee. If the plan moves forward with approval, what we would do is a number of major action steps. First, by expanding the mission of Your Way Home, we would also request that the commissioners expand the membership of the Your Way Home Advisory Council to include more people with who understand the issues and solutions related to housing affordability in Montgomery County. Under the Your Way Home Advisory Council, we would also establish a standing Homes for All advisory team that would be chaired by a council member, but be comprised of people from the business, civic, community, education, faith, government, and nonprofit sectors to really dig deeper into affordable housing development and financing opportunities, housing solutions that drive job creation and economic growth, specific housing opportunities to meet the needs of vulnerable populations, and finally, scan for and bring to the county potential best practices for municipal and township officials around supporting the creation of more affordable housing opportunities at a local level. We would, in addition, launch a Homes for All website, email newsletter, and social media to continually educate, engage, and inspire policymakers and the public about the value of increasing housing affordability for residents of all economic backgrounds and income levels. Part of that website would also include access to data that is available currently through the Planning Commission and other sources, but to make that data more easily accessible and searchable by residents and municipal leaders, as well as toolkits to help municipal leaders and housing developers spur the growth of permanent housing opportunities. And finally, the initiative would explore long-range opportunities to leverage and secure more public and private funding to invest in creating more new and more equitable housing opportunities for all Montgomery County residents. And that is our high-level plan, and I will turn it back to Dave to close the presentation.
Again, thank you, commissioners, and thank you to the senior leadership team as well for encouraging and allowing all of us to work on this project over the last several years. And with that, we're happy to take any questions once you put the motion on the floor.
Great. Thank you all very, very much. I will move that the proper county officials, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, subject to the approval of the Chief Operating Officer, are hereby authorized to provide guidance, recommendations, and to report on the implementation of Homes for All and the vision, and to make it a priority to continue to engage in multidisciplinary and stakeholder collaboration to make housing affordability a centerpiece of the county's planning, health, economic, workforce, and community development goals. Is there a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lawrence. I just want to reflect a little bit on what I heard this morning. And first of all, thank all of you for this extraordinarily collaborative effort, which is, I think, the only way to solve a problem as complex as housing affordability. When I think about housing, I think about how critical it is to the health of everyone in our community, to the educational success of students in school, to the job success of our working adults in our community. And this is a problem that has been exacerbated by the county's success. We have done an incredible job here in the county to make this a highly desirable place for people to live, to work, to go to school, for businesses to relocate and expand. But that success has come with, as you noted, a very competitive housing market right now, and one that is becoming increasingly difficult for so many in our community to afford. But from where I sit, our success will be short-lived if we don't ensure that there is a place for everyone in our community to be part of this success. And so the ability of everyone in our community to afford to live here is what creates the diversity that makes this community strong. So whether it's a new college grad just starting out, new parents trying to build a family here, or a senior who wants to age in the home that they've lived in for decades, we have to make sure that that is possible for everyone. So I am deeply committed to this work. I want to thank all of you for putting this together in such a multidisciplinary and collaborative way. And I will commit to helping make this a living, breathing document and plan, one that we don't just simply put on a shelf and ignore, but that we continue to use as a guide star for our work here in the county. So thank you all so much. Commissioner Lawrence.
Jason, Dave, Scott, Kaylee, thank you so much for all the work that you have put individually on this, and please let your staffs know as well. I know it wasn't just the four of you. Very comprehensive, very impressive. You know, I've often talked about my Montgomery County story that we moved here for opportunity, and my parents were able to afford a house, and I was able to go to a good school district. And I look now, you know, my family still lives here in Montgomery County, my parents, my sisters. But, you know, I have two sons, one a 20-year-old and one a 16-year-old. I want to make sure that they have opportunities to stay here if they want, if they don't try to get away from me after they finish their education as well. And we've seen in the past year, you know, for the first time in my life, and hopefully the last time, that we had a stay-at-home order. You know, stay at home for your safety. But what does that mean if you don't have a home? Or what does that mean when you have to go out to work because you're one paycheck away from being on the streets? So many negative outcomes come from housing instability, as was mentioned, food insecurity, and health outcomes. You know, as we come out of this pandemic, we talk about building back better. And I think this is a foundational block of that, is making sure, as Val says, that everyone can have affordable housing affordability here in Montgomery County, so we can continue to create educational opportunities, economic opportunities. So I'm looking forward to the next steps, and will wholeheartedly support you. Thank you.
Commissioner Gale.
Thank you. Stable and affordable housing is very important, but in my opinion, this resolution is full of political theater. Sadly, over time, the efforts to assist those in need of housing has clearly been abused by political insiders at the expense of taxpayers. For several years, I have identified a long-standing pattern of political campaign contributions tied to developers of affordable housing and members of the Board of Commissioners, and this discovery has not set well with me. The costs of these construction projects are deliberately inflated beyond market rate, and in return have become a money-making machine for politically connected developers. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. The best way to make housing affordable in Montgomery County is by keeping property taxes low. Unfortunately, my colleagues continue to raise taxes, even this year during a pandemic when many people lost their jobs due to government forcing businesses to shut down. So again, the best way to create an atmosphere for stable and affordable housing is by keeping property taxes low. And the county should move forward and do that by stop spending year after year more than what we spent the prior year. And a prime example of that is the Justice Center project and the renovations at the county campus in Norristown. It's nearly $500 million in costs that we do not need. And that burden is being shifted to our property owners, our renters, everyone. And for example, we have many senior citizens in Montgomery County who are on a fixed income, and they're literally being taxed out of their homes because year after year, their municipal property taxes increase, their school district property taxes increase, their county property taxes increase. And this pattern of excessive spending and property tax increases is not sustainable. And until that is curbed and corrected, we will never have true, stable, and affordable housing in Montgomery County. So, Ms. Washington, when we're ready for it, we'll need a roll call vote on this resolution. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other comments, then we will move to a vote. Ms. Washington?
Chair Arkush,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lawrence,
Aye.
Commissioner Gale.
Opposed?
Motion carries. Thanks, everyone, and please thank your teams. Really fantastic work. Very appreciative. All right, next, Mr. Bonner, an authorization to purchase 18 West Erie Street in Norristown.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before you this morning for consideration is a resolution authorizing the county to purchase the property located at 18 West Erie Street. This property is immediately adjacent to the county's One Montgomery Plaza building and includes parking lot space that abuts the county's parking area behind OMP. For the purchase price of $525,000, the county will purchase all built improvements associated with the property, including the approximately 12,000 square foot building and the approximately 3,000 square foot parking area. Purchase of this property will equip the county to address issues relating to space needs, an OMP utility infrastructure that will require access to the entire parking area, and will provide additional flexibility to accommodate county operations. This resolution will enable the county to finalize this purchase through required titling and recording procedures. I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I will move that the proper county officials, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, subject to the approval of the county solicitor, are hereby authorized to execute a sales agreement with Hurricane Partners LP and other necessary documents for the purchase of 420 Cherry Street and 18 West Erie Street for $525,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Thank you.
Mr. Stein, an authorization to extend a lease agreement with the Montgomery County Community College.
Yes, thank you. This is in connection with the authorization that you approved last month with the Montgomery County Higher Education and Health Authority to issue bonds for the Montgomery County Community College. As you're aware, the county owns the piece of ground upon which the community county exists in Bluebell. The original lease, as structured by the Montgomery County Community College Authority, was for the structured so that the county owns the ground and leases it to the community college. That lease was originally executed February 1st, 1970. It was extended again on September 1st, 1990, and is currently scheduled to expire on December 31st, 2044. As a number of the bonds that the college is seeking to issue may extend beyond that 2044 date, they need to be able to assure the investors that they will control the property beyond that, and have asked the commissioners if they would be willing to extend the lease through December 31st, 2050. Staff sees no reason why we would oppose that request.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. I will move that the proper county officials, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, subject to the approval of the county solicitor, are hereby authorized to execute the necessary documents to extend the lease agreement with the Montgomery County Community College. Is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Stein.
Thank you.
Next, we have an appointment to the Agricultural Land Preservation Board. I will move that Mr. Ned Foley be appointed as a farmer representative to the Montgomery County Agricultural Land Preservation Board for a term to begin immediately and to expire on May the 6th, 2024, and to serve at the pleasure of the county commissioners and in accordance with the current duly adopted bylaws. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, Ms. O'Malley, advertisements of bids and RFPs.
Certainly. Number one, a bid on behalf of Assets and Infrastructure for Restoration Services.
The successful responder will provide a full stage restoration of the historic mill at Sunrise Mill. Contract will be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. 2, bid on behalf of assets and infrastructure for bridge construction. The successful responder will provide construction services for County Bridge 296, Wiskowski Road over Ridge Valley Creek in Upper Salford Township. Contract will be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. 3, bid on behalf of assets and infrastructure for construction of a coroner's facility. The successful bidder will construct a facility for use by the County Coroner's Office on the Montgomery County Emergency Operating Center campus. Contract will be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. 4, RFP on behalf of Commerce for career exploration content. The successful responder will provide age-appropriate career readiness activities and programming to target intermediate and secondary students in Montgomery County. Contract will be awarded to the highest rated responder. 5, RFP on behalf of Health and Human Services for truancy services. The successful responder will provide a countywide truancy diversion program in order to divert formal involvement with the Office of Children and Youth. Contract will be awarded to the highest rated provider. 6, RFP on behalf of Health and Human Services for youth and family satisfaction and family advocacy programs. The successful responders will develop a program for independent evaluators of the behavioral health services provided to children and adolescents by Montgomery County, and a program that will assist Montgomery County families whose children and adolescents have behavioral health concerns navigate the public child servicing systems. Contracts will be awarded to the highest rated responders. 7, RFP on behalf of Human Resources for staffing services. The successful responders will provide supplemental staffing services to county departments on an as-needed basis. Services provided will allow for in-person, electronic, and telephone capacities. 8, RFP on behalf of Public Safety for consulting services. The successful responder will provide consulting services necessary to complete the creation of a geographic information system database that will include National Emergency Number Association compliant address points and street center lines in Montgomery County. Contract will be awarded to the highest rated responder. All bids and RFPs are available on the county's purchasing website at www.montcopa.org/purchasing.
Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding requests for the advertisement of bids and RFPs as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, awards of contract for the county.
Number 1, contract award, assets and infrastructure, testing and inspection services, Hillis Carnes Engineering Associates Incorporated of Annapolis Junction, Maryland, $140,205. Contract provides testing and inspection services related to the Emergency Operating Center construction projects, including the EOC warehouse, coroner's facility, and archives facility. Multiple quotes obtained from the approved list of providers as per RFP 1801. 2, contract award, assets and infrastructure, inspection of fire systems, Johnson Controls of Boca Raton, Florida, $60,000. Contract provides inspections, testing, servicing, and tagging for various fire detection, alarm, and suppression systems and fire extinguishers in county-owned buildings. Services are available through a Sourcewell cooperative contract. Contract term is for a 1-year term of 5/1/2021 through 4/30/2022. 3, contract award, assets and infrastructure and planning commission. Inspection services, TRC Engineers Incorporated of New York, New York, $1,334,994. Contract provides construction inspection services for the Ridge Pike Improvement Project, Section D, Crescent Avenue to Northwestern Avenue, located in Springfield and White Marsh Townships to the Philadelphia City line. RFP 2103 was viewed by 51 providers with 9 responses received. Contract is awarded to the highest rated provider. 4, contract award, assets and infrastructure and planning commission, management services, JBC Associates Incorporated of King of Prussia, PA, $341,724.25. Contract provides for construction management services, Bridge Pike Improvement Project, Section D, Crescent Avenue to Northwestern Avenue, located in Springfield and White Marsh Townships to the Philadelphia City line. RFP 2104 was viewed by 49 providers with 9 responses received. Contract is awarded to the highest rated provider. 5, contract award, Health and Human Services vehicle, New Holland Auto Group of New Holland, PA, $34,958. Contract provides a 2022 Ford F-250 truck for use by the Office of Public Health. Vehicle is available through a PA CoStars contract. 6, contract award, finance software, OpenGov of Redwood City, California, $128,000. Contract provides the deployment and licensing for OpenGov budgeting software. Software is available through a U.S. Communities Omnia contract for the 2021 term. 7, contract award Information and Technology Solutions software. SHI International Corporation of Somerset, New Jersey, $30,356.99. Contract provides the Nova4 network security software. Software is available through a PA CoStars contract. 8, contract award Information and Technology Solutions hardware. Pomeroy Technologies LLC of Hebron, Kentucky, $36,244.66. Contract provides support and maintenance for the server load balancer solution for VDI security. Support and maintenance is available through a PA CoStars contract. 9, contract award public safety equipment. Tradeco 1 LLC of Newark, Delaware, $35,063. Contract provides an unmanned aerial vehicle. Specification 6437 was viewed by 25 providers with 2 responses received. Contract is awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. 10, contract amendment, assets and infrastructure, civil engineering services, Bursich Incorporated of Pottstown, PA, $53,000. Original contract provided engineering services of a land development plan for the placement of a vehicle storage and forensic facility at our emergency operations campus located in Lower Providence Township. Amendment provides bid and construction support for the garage, warehouse, coroner, and archive buildings, including shop drawing review, construction consultation, meetings, site visits as built, and National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System's notice of termination, and for landscaping design for the relocation of the 9/11 Memorial at the Emergency Operations Center campus in Eagleville. 11, contract amendment, assets and infrastructure, architecture and engineering services, Heckendorn, Shiles and Associates of Wayne, PA, $68,350. Original contract provided design services for the Emergency Operations Center garage and warehouse. Amendment provides design and construction revision for a reduction in size of the archives building, revisions to update drawings and permit set, and revisions for construction support services required beyond original scope from 2016. 12, contract amendment, Information and Technology Solutions, financial system Infor US Incorporated of Alpharetta, Georgia, $216,538. Contract provides the upgrade of Lawson ERP V9 to Infor Cloud Suite Financials V11, implementation of Lawson Business Intelligence, contract management, grant accounting, and a business process review. Amendment provides technical managed services support for the county's Infor Cloud Suite financial system. Infor Managed Services will provide application level administration, monitoring, and enhancement of the county's financial system. 13, contract amendment, Planning Commission, Engineering, Gannett Fleming of Camp Hill, PA, $170,262.45. Contract provides for engineering services during construction activities on the Ridge Pike Improvement Project from Crescent Avenue to Northwestern Avenue in White Marsh and Springfield Townships. Amendment provides for Part 3 to Supplement D, which includes construction consultation, shop drawing review, survey and utility coordination, and historic preservation services. 14, contract amendment, Planning Commission consultant, Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated of Laurel, Maryland, no cost. Original contract provides right-of-way acquisition services for the Ridge Pike Improvement Project between Crescent Avenue and Northwestern Avenue in White Marsh and Springfield Townships, as per RFP 1841. Amendment provides a no-cost time extension through December 1, 2022 to extend the contract timeline through completion. 15, contract amendment, Planning Commission, supplemental reimbursement preliminary engineering agreement for the Ridge Pike project, $189,000. Contract is between PennDOT and Montgomery County to provide funding for the agreement reimbursement according to state aid parameters for 80% of project costs toward the Ridge Pike Bridge over the Turnpike. Contract also provides for a funding agreement reimbursement to the county according to federal and state aid parameters for 95% of project costs for Bridge Zero. Supplemental agreement adds funding to the base agreement to finish preliminary engineering on the project. Revised agreement enables PennDOT to reimburse the county for project costs up to the revised amount of $1,069,000. 16, contract amendment, Planning Commission, supplemental reimbursement agreement for floodwall constructions, $70,309. Contract is between James and Francine Spence and Montgomery County that provides for the county's additional portion of the cost toward the construction of a floodwall and related work on the Spence property. Additional costs are for developing an erosion and sediment control plan required by the Conservation District and for increased material costs. 17, 1 contract, 14 contract renewals, and 3 amendments for Health and Human Services. Providers and services are listed at the end of the agenda.
Thank you, Ms. O'Malley. I will motion to approve the preceding awards of contract as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes?
Yes, I'd like to oppose. It's too late to amend the motion on the floor, but I'm opposed to the construction project of the warehouse at the Emergency Operations Center campus. Today's agenda reflects over $1 million in costs related to that project. Contract award number 1 is testing and inspection services related to the warehouse project at the EOC. Contract amendment number 10 is architecture engineering services related to that project. And contract amendment number 11 is architecture and engineering services related to that project. So I'm opposed to these, and I'll have to oppose the contract award section. So if you can move forward with a roll call vote, I'd appreciate that.
All right, Ms. Washington.
Chair Arkush,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lawrence,
Aye.
Commissioner Gale.
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries. Ms. O'Malley, awards of contract for under the emergency procurement for COVID-19.
Yes. Contracts provide various goods and services required for response to the COVID-19 pandemic. 1. Response equipment, public safety vehicles, Whitmore Ford Incorporated of Mountjoy, PA, $72,000. Contract provides 2 Ford F-350 trucks for use as mobile vaccination clinics. Vehicles are available through a PA CoStars contract. 2. Response Services Public Safety Vehicle Upfits, ESI Equipment Incorporated of Montgomeryville, PA, $169,171.22. Contract provides upfitting services to 2 Ford F-350 trucks for mobile clinic use. 3. Response Services Commissioners Awareness Program, Aloysius Butler Clark and Associates of Wilmington, Delaware, $123,721. Contract provides the production of an integrated media and grassroots campaign to raise awareness around the rent and utility relief program. 4. Response Services Finance, OpenGov of San Jose, California, $38,958. Contract provides for OpenGov Citizen Services cloud-based financial tracking system. Citizen Services will be used to track, monitor, and report ongoing federally funded COVID-19 recovery programs. Initial contract term is May 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021. 5. Response Services, Health and Human Services, Comcast Corporation of Philadelphia, PA, $25,944. Contract provides a customized Medicare television campaign for older adults as per the requirements of the Tri-County Collaborative of the PA Aging and Disability Resource Center, which is comprised of Montgomery, Bucks, and Chester counties. 6. Response Services, Health and Human Services, rental fees, Montgomery County Community College of Bluebell, PA, $118,280. Contract provides rental space for the vaccination site on the campus of the community college for January through April 2021, which includes security, custodial, and hygienist fees. 7. Response Services, Health and Human Services, ambulance services, multiple providers, $627,750. Contract provides for standby medic services for the vaccination sites. Providers are Second Alarmist Rescue Association of Montgomery County of Willow Grove, PA, Gilbertsville Area Community Ambulance of Gilbertsville, PA, Goodwill Steam Fire Engine No. 1 Ambulance of Pottstown, PA, Lower Providence Community Center Ambulance of Eagleville, PA, Volunteer Medical Services Corp. Of Lower Marion and Arbor of Ardmore, PA, and Plymouth Community Ambulance of Plymouth Meeting, PA. 8. Response Services, Health and Human Services, S.J. Thomas Incorporated of Lansdowne, PA, $41,351.57. Contract provides completion of construction work done at the Willow Grove vaccination site. 9. Response Services, Information and Technology Solutions, Eastern Business Software Incorporated of Media, PA, $148,488.75. Contract provides for 3 technical contractors to support the county vaccination sites. 10. Response Services, Health and Human Services, Microsoft Corporation Enterprise Services of Dallas, Texas, $582,289. Contract provides for development and implementation of a vaccine registration system. 11. Response Services, Health and Human Services, ServPro of Norristown, PA, $13,393.63. Original contract provided cleaning and decontamination services for the vaccination sites. Amendment provides added services required for the Montgomery Mall vaccination site. 12. Response Supplies, Health and Human Services, Safeware Incorporated of Lanham, Maryland, $71,775. Contract provides disposable gloves for use by the Office of Public Health. 13, Response Services Amendment, Health and Human Services, Johnson Controls York Service of Horsham, PA, $8,475. Original contract provided for chiller and cooling tower maintenance and repairs at the King of Prussia Mall vaccination site. Amendment provides removal and replacement of filter from air moving units required to make the units fully operational.
Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding awards of contract as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Are there any closing commissioner comments? All right, then with that, I will announce that our next meetings are as follows. First, there are 2 upcoming election board meetings. The first will be on May the 13th, 2021, and the second will be on May 17th, 2021. May 17th, I'm sorry, 2021. And then our next Board of Commissioners meeting is May 20th, 2021. And I will move to adjourn the May 6th, 2021 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned, and we will convene Salary Board. I see Controller Sanchez and Ms. Pardue. Good morning, welcome, or good afternoon, welcome. Is there any public comment on Salary Board? Ms. Co-Francisco?
Good. We do not have any current anyone with their hand raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then Ms. Pardue.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of Salary Board. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Salary Board list. It is a 3-page document dated Thursday, May 6th, 2021, with a timestamp of 8:25 a.m. Of note, we have 5 retirees: Frederick Morgan from Assets and Infrastructure after 39 years, Damian Felton from Juvenile Probation after 32 years, Barbara Grabowski from Juvenile Probation after 13 years, Joseph Valerio from Security after 12 years, and Craig Klass from the Sheriff's Department after 32 years.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the May 6, 2021 Salary Board presentation as given by Director of Human Resources, Ms. Donna Pardue, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same?
So moved.
Moved by Controller Sanchez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment?
I have comment. I would just like to congratulate all our retirees that appear on today's Salary Board. I'd like to especially acknowledge Joseph Valerio for his 12 years of service to the county and our security department. And for those county employees joining us for the meeting, Mr. Valerio was the gentleman in the lobby of 1 Montgomery Plaza that would work the scanner as you come in the building during recent years. So he's always a friendly face to see as you come into 1 Montgomery Plaza, and I know many of our employees will miss him. And I'd like to thank Mr. Valerio for his 12 years of service to Montgomery County.
All right. If there's no other comments, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? All right, hearing none, motion carries. And Ms. Pardue, I know we have some recognition of our particularly long-term employees. So
Yes.
I think we first have Kim Lukens for Damian Felton. Is that correct?
We should have Kim.
Was she calling in?
I thought so.
I think I've unmuted her. Kim, if you can hear me, you just have to press *6.
All right, why don't we come back to that one while we sort out the technical issues? And let's see. I think next we have Mr. Bonner for Mr. Morgan.
Correct.
Certainly. So first of all, like the author before him, Scott Morgan goes by Scott, F. Scott Morgan. So Frederick is his correct name, but you're going to hear me talking about him as I know him by Scott. When Scott Morgan started working for Montgomery County in 1982 at Lorimer Park, he had to go to a grocery store or the library to make copies. He was hired by Commissioner Parkhouse as Park Superintendent at Lorimer Park and oversaw an average visitor count of 42,000 people to Lorimer Park. In 2019, as you heard earlier from Fabry, from but one of the park's parking lots, Lorimer was host to 256,000 visitors in a year. And from his bedroom window, Scott Morgan was working to ensure their experience was a positive one. When he started with the county, Scott moved into the house on the grounds of Lorimer Park, newly married, and raised his 3 children in the house and park over his 39-year tenure. He has been a fixture and institution in the county's parks and trails, living and working in and on our system his entire career, and Montgomery County has benefited immeasurably from his unceasing dedication. He started an office where he would field calls from people using the yellow pages, looking for voting information, tax relief, and dog licensing, and retires as regional manager, having helped oversee the completion and upkeep, as you heard earlier today, of a major trail in the Pennypack Trail, transformative renovations of Peter Wentz Farmstead, Norristown Farm Park, and Lorimer Park, to say nothing of managing a staff of 32 and the day-to-day operations for facilities serving hundreds of thousands of visitors a year. I've had the privilege to get to know Scott personally and professionally over my comparatively brief tenure here at the county, and I can genuinely say I will miss him. Generally, the AI director isn't involved closely with the daily operations of a region's parks, but with Scott at the helm, Parks Administrator Dave Clifford and I have been spoiled by the comfort afforded by his capability and experience. Scott's enthusiasm for involving and helping our community is unparalleled. He has worked with scout camps, cross-country racers, anglers, mountain bike teams, farmers, historic societies, hunters, birthday parties, barbecue groups, all with the aplomb that helps every user feel important. I have shown up at Lorimer early on a Sunday morning with my own children, only to see Scott setting up a group of young hikers around a fire he made, chatting with absolute familiarity to everyone. His longevity and engagement has made that familiarity inevitable. In his retirement letter, Scott accurately stated that during his tenure, quote, "I have overseen too many projects to mention," end quote. He rattles off those that stick in his mind, warranted sources of pride, modernizing Lorimer Park while keeping, quote, "the natural environment that George Lorimer so enjoyed and requested," end quote. The Pennypack Trail, loved by citizens and staff, but it's his closing paragraphs that are the most telling about Scott's presence in the county. Quote, "The one part of the job that I will truly miss is the interaction with staff and management. I have worked with some wonderful people and I consider many close friends," end quote. He will leave our county and our parks better than he found them. And while his are massive shoes, the work he did building our infrastructure will enable our continuing the good work. We will certainly miss F. Scott Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. That is lovely. And such a wonderful, wonderful tribute. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Pardue, where should we go next?
So let's go to Chief Adam Berry next.
All right. Good morning, Chief, or good afternoon, Chief.
Good morning, Commissioners. And I want to thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of Sheriff Kilkenny and all the men and women of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office as we salute Deputy Craig Class for his 32 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Montgomery County. In his time here with the Sheriff's Office, Craig has served in every division that we've had, or that we have. And most notably, he was a dedicated member of our Montgomery County Bomb Squad for 10 years from 1999 through 2009. His file, as I reviewed earlier in the week, contains numerous, and I do mean numerous, letters of appreciation and commendation from various federal, state, and local agencies for bomb calls, for assistance that he provided. So I just want to take a moment to salute deputy class on behalf of Sheriff Kilkenny and all of the members of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and wish him a very happy and long and healthy retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Barry. Really appreciate that. All right. Ms. Lukens.
Again, if you can hear us, Kim, you just need to press star and 6 to unmute. Don't think we are getting through.
No. Well, perhaps she can come back to our next meeting and make her comments then.
We'll certainly invite her.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. And this is, again, just a wonderful tribute to some of our longest serving employees. Every member of our county family who retires, we are so grateful to, but we do take a few extra minutes to acknowledge some of the longest serving employees, people that often just never get any public recognition, but are so integral to the work that we do here at the county. And we are grateful for your service. Any other comments from my colleagues? Okay, then with that, I will take a motion to adjourn the May 6, 2021 meeting of the Montgomery County Salary Board.
So moved.
Moved by Controller Sanchez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Any negative votes? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.